Hi guys, I am so excited to be back. I know it's been a couple weeks and everything, and sorry, I've had a lot of personal things going on in my life. Some of you may know that I have actually been moving, so but I'm excited to say that Haunted Memoirs is officially back. So yay! Um, so I have some really exciting. We're gonna wait for a few minutes here to see if anybody pops on and watches or whatnot. So, um, I was actually planning on going live on TikTok tonight too. So we'll see. I'm excited, guys. Super excited. Super excited. I don't know what I should jump into first. Either the locations, and or my announcements. Decisions. So, let me get set up for my TikTok here real fast and wait for a couple more people to pop up on the show here. Hi. I don't know who's watching, but so I got some exciting stuff to share with y'all. As you guys can see, I am in a new environment. I am happy to say that. Hi, Joanne. So exciting news. So not only did we finally get to do Joshua Ward House and the Ginny Wade locations here in the United States, but if you guys look behind me, you can't really see it because I'm in the way, but it's not official. It's my bed is bigger than what I thought it was because now I have my setup, my computer and everything in my room. But I think once I get my actual computer desk over here and get it reset back up, everything will be a go for that. But I have now a Haunted Memoirs background, backdrop, whatever you want to call it. I am super stoked about it. I love it. I also have a Linda the Parahistorian logo backdrop. And honestly, I'm in love with it. I am. And now my furball is going to say hi to everybody. What do you want? Okay. Bye. So, yeah, Joanne, we call her a furball. At least my boyfriend does. So, yeah. She's going to make a comeback. She's going to make an appearance. I don't know where she disappeared to. But anyway, yeah. So, yes. I am super stoked about having these displayed. I will switch them out from my historian to Haunted Memoirs background. I thought I had it all set up, but there's not enough space between my dresser and my bed because this is my bed, this is my dresser, and I'm in a smaller space now. So, like I said, tonight is going to be the Joshua Ward House and the Ginny Wade House. I'm super stoked because I've been wanting to do the Joshua Ward House forever now. And the last time I had the show going, it didn't work out. My backdrop started falling and everything else, but I got a new background, whatever you want to call it, stand. So I actually got the actual thing now. So now the feet are more leveled and everything. So that should be a plus. So, and it's really hot in my room. But further ado, so let's just go ahead and get into my announcements that I had planned for tonight. As you all know, I am this year's host for Para Unity, which we hold in the United States in Peru, Indiana. It is going to be October 25th of this year. That's the date for it this year, and I'm super stoked. We have a lot of new, fresh ideas coming to the table. We are currently still looking for vendors. So if you are in the Indiana area or out of state and don't mind traveling and looking for an event that's in October, I know it's still quite a ways away, but we're still looking for vendors. Feel free to reach out to either myself, Linda, and or Jeremy York of Things Network, and or go to the Para Unity, the Para Unity's page, and you can hit the sign up button, and you'll take it straight to the registration forms. So I'm super stoked about that one. And sorry, my daughter bringing my car keys back. Love you too. So, further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into my locations. You know, it's funny, I gotta say, how this webcam that I got is an external web because I have to use an external monitor that didn't have a webcam with it, so I had to buy an external, like a different one. This webcam it does okay, but when I go looking over at my phone, it's clear as day. So, thank you all for joining here on TT. I am Linda. I'm the Para Historian, and we are doing 2 different locations tonight. So I'm doing 2 different shows on 2 different platforms. So we are doing the Joshua Ward House and the Ginny Wade House tonight, and they're both in Salem, Massachusetts. So, fun fact about the Joshua Ward House, it was on it was constructed on the Langton. Yeah, right, Jeremy. I just seen you today. Hi, Mort. So happy you could join. We're doing the Joshua Ward House. Finally been able to finally get to it. I'm super excited. So it was constructed on the footprint of the Corwin's house that I just did a few weeks ago. Before I took and had to take a break for some personal reasons in my... So, the Joshua Ward House accompanies land that was owned by the cruel witch trials High Sheriff George Corwin. So George Corwin was the guy that started the witch trials, and it was constructed on his land, and it was built in the 1780s. So this house is very, very old. So can you imagine going through the years? And it was... I am so out of my element tonight, guys. Again, I don't know why. Probably because I'm starting to feel under the weather again. I am sick and tired of just not feeling best. But anyway, so the Joshua Ward House was important enough that George Washington himself paid a visit to Salem, and he stayed in the Joshua Ward House. And for years, there was a bust of President Washington on one of the windows. It doesn't say which window. Gullible visitors would see it from the street and then get terrified, thinking that they saw one of the spirits of the home. So imagine like walking along the street and then you see like just a person, a silhouette of somebody standing in the window. That would like scare me too if I wasn't looking, if I wasn't paying attention. So okay. So it's a three-story brick federal style home that is now home to businesses. Now I don't know if it's still the book company and the realtor company. I would have to go back and double check. I didn't do that this week like I was originally hoping to, but it has been restored over the years, so it's been updated to our standards, thanks to a grant by the Massachusetts Historical Commission. Though it has a lovely three-wooden central staircase that leads up to the other floors. There are, offices on the first floor, then in the library and parlor, and then there is, and all of the woodwork was done by Samuel I cannot pronounce it. McIntyre, not McIntyre, but McIntyre. Um, it was originally built for the sea captain Joshua Ward. Joshua Ward. That's where it comes from. He was a sea captain. He was retired, and he just wanted to settle down. So in the 19th century, it became a hotel. And then as the land neared down valuable changes were coming to this property where the building and the native TLC, sometime in the earlier 20th century, a multi-storied commercial building was constructed on the large front sloping yard of the Ward House, perhaps a sign of the mansion/hotel's demesne. So in the 70s, it was in the loss of its mind, started to tear down wonderful old structures. A commercial developer submitted a proposal to the Salem Developer Authority to tear down this mansion and build another commercial building behind this one already standing in the former front yard. Fortunately, this proposal was turned down. So they wanted to tear this beautiful home down, but it was turned down, thank goodness. And efforts were made to get funds to restore this lovely old structure. The commercial building that had been built in the front yard was torn down, and the mansion's front yard was restored. The former hotel is turned into a commercial enterprise where now businesses do go and reside inside of it. So he built this land, the mansion on the land that was where the sheriff George Corrin had his house/jail in the 1680s. So we never did get to that portion of George Corrin's house because I always had so much internet problems back then. Sorry, just checking everything else out. So Mr. Corrin was nicknamed the Strangler and had the duty of interrogating suspected witches and warlocks and carried out the painful sentences during the Salem shameful witch hunting era, which we all know took place from 1692 to 1693, so it was a year long. So it is said that the ones that had passed away is haunting where Corrin's house stood and now the Joshua Ward house. And they're unhappy, angry about how they passed away and not wanting to accept it or perhaps looking for their tormentors. That's Corwin, So in my research for the Joshua Ward house, a lot of stuff had Joshua Ward house, come up with a lot of the Corwin, since the Corwin's house and the Joshua house was so close together, which is on the same land. It got confusing because I have some of it that's Corwin's and Joshua Ward's, and then in Corwin's, I have some of Joshua Ward's. So, files. It is so. It's really hard to figure out, like, in my research and in my history, if we have more than one property, more than one location, hard to distinguish, like, which one is which, because they're both talking about it, because each place talks about the other, because they're on the same land. So Joshua Ward's house was down the path on the same land as Corwin's house, as the sheriffs that started the Salem witch trials. So, but it's located on Washington Street, and it's also one of the historic haunted homes. No one actually knew the horrors that went inside of Joshua Ward's house. So who knows what happened during that time. Some Salem residents know the history or whisper rumors about the land's former owner as they pass. Most walk by unaware on their way to Dunkin' Donuts or the gift shops next door. Those in the know shudder when they pass at night. So it is alleged that he used his private home as a sadistic torture dungeon for the innocent victims of the witches, and his violent spirit still stalks the land now hundreds of years later. So it's said that, he used his home to be mean to these men and women that were accused of something that they were not. So it sits at 148 Washington Street, and it's hunkered down between the cute tourist-driven town and the kind of grimy real Salem. The serious historians will tell you that the interior woodworking was done by famed architect Samuel can't pronounce it. The same man responsible for the monumental golden eagle on the Salem Custom House and the majestic mansions of the Chestnut Street. During the golden age of Salem was not as developed. The waterfront could be viewed from Joshua Ward's house. The owners could gaze from their home out to the ocean from which they made their fortune. Was important enough that when George Washington paid a visit to Salem, he stayed in the house. The site was some of the spellbound organization's first Salem paranormal investigations. According to an investigator we used to work with closely, for not me, but this is what it said, for whom the sake of we will call Mary and her skeptical partner. So there was a paranormal investigation group that they worked with, and they didn't name the actual names. So it was Mary and Robert. She was settling equipment up in the third floor room, and he was in the basement. Mary realized too much time had passed. Where was her partner? They were supposed to have met up within half an hour in the parlor. She called out for him. He was nowhere to be found. The people working in the house had not seen him since he headed down to the basement. She raced down to the basement, and he was there. But not the way she had left him. He was laying withering on the floor, barely alive, struggling to breathe. She, got him into a sitting position and shook him to consciousness. Through tears, he had choked out a story describing how he poked around the basement and was struck from behind, and his throat was seized. He rolled around to face his attacker, and there was no one there. Yet the strangling sensation continued. It felt as if someone was attempting to choke the life out of him. Robert tried to shout out for help. Not a sound could issue from his mouth, as his invisible assailant had his windpipe so it was like constricting so tight. And it felt like two vice-like hands had wrapped around his throat, trying to choke him to. Robert then felt himself begin to fade. His vision broke into black sparkles, went limp, and passed out. She found him in just the nick of time, revived and shared his story, and it was noticed that his neck had massive bruising consistent with that with seen on victims who have violently been choked. From that on out, that was his very last paranormal investigation because, well, something like that on your very first time and you're a skeptic, I would say, and you all tell me, wouldn't that be scary? That would be so scary. I know now, I know. Red Bull at like almost 9 o'clock at night. I'm tired. I don't feel good. But the show must go on. So they think that Joshua Ward and Sheriff Corwin's spirits still reside there. And it wouldn't be. I mean, we all go into these houses and we all do these investigations, and we all get told from time to time that the owners are still there, but yet no one. I mean, we have solid proof. We have, all this proof and everything. So to me, I would sit there, and if I had passed away and I was in a home that I loved, like if I had my dream home and I passed away in my dream home, I honestly don't think I would want to leave that home. And then I would get upset with people over the time, redoing it and not realizing that this is what has to happen, because I'm not, you're not alive to know that, hey, technology and the times have changed. Some spirits may be stuck in a time loop of what's happening, so maybe that person thought that whoever hurt Robert thought that he was down there trying to get a hold of, the witches and stuff to set them free and didn't want that to happen, so they had to do something. Boots, what are you doing? So, a lot of other investigators, they've had their own encounters with Joshua and Mr. Corrin themselves, and we'll get onto that in a different time. So we'll come back to all of that, and it's like more of it was pretty much, I'm going to have to combine these two because it's pretty much almost the same. They all talk, like everything was talking about the Joshua Corwin house. And because, I mean, do we really honestly, I mean, to me, reading through these files and trying to do my, reports like I would do for the public to read through if they wanted to, it's hard to distinguish which one is which. So back to the house itself. It was one of the first brick houses in Salem, with the woodworking and everything. The staircase and the woodwork is the oldest surviving stair. It's actually the staircase created by him. So this staircase has been lovely done. If you were still alive, I'd be like, hey, come to my house and do some work for me. I needed, So it was laid in a Flemish bond, whatever that means. So if anybody knows what that means, let me know. It had 4 chimneys that were damaged by storms. And again in 1938, the New England hurricane. and it was used as a tavern. So who knows what happened during that time when it was a tavern? Oh, I see now why everybody was getting them confused, and everybody kept thinking that it was the Sheriff Corwin. So, like I said, I usually do reports on, write my little reports up and don't read it. I didn't realize, because I usually go back and look up and see if I missed anything. But the Joshua Ward house was built. When they see footprint, that means it was built on the site of the Corwin house. So the Corwin house is no longer, because obviously he was a mean man that did a lot of evil things to a lot of innocent people. So they tore his house down, which probably would pee somebody off anyway, and built the Joshua Ward house. Chaotic. See? So on the National Register of Historic Places, it was listed in 1978 and included the downtown Salem district in 1983. In 2015, it was built into a hotel, as we know. So, we're just going to say that was the Joshua Ward house. It was pretty much built on the site. It was pretty much the Joshua Corwin, Sheriff Corwin's house, but different time periods. And so they, people think disembodied voices, EVPs. Obviously, people are being attacked in the basement. I really want to go to this house now, guys. I really want to visit. I was actually, how old was I? I can't remember how old I was. But I was a young girl, and I had visited Salem, Massachusetts. Only because my dad was a trucker, and I was able to go with him, and he went to Salem, Massachusetts to drop off a load. Now, the Ginny Wade house. So it is a 2-story modest red brick structure, and it was originally a duplex done in 1800 style. It has a customary cellar and attic as well. A wall divided the brick structure from the attic to the first floor, creating 2 rental units. The house is now a museum and is open for tours. So I remember seeing the Ginny Wade house. It I am so sorry. It's not in Salem, Massachusetts like I thought. That's the Molly Brown house. Why did I think Ginny Wade was in that? But anyway, I will have to look and see if I can find the Molly Brown house, because I know I have it. So the Ginny Wade house is 2 separate units, as we would call it now. So it was one big structure, but it was like there was, a wall dividing it. So there's 2 different houses, and it still looks like it did back in when it was built in 1863, and it was authentically furnished from cellar to attic. So the Ginny Wade House Museum is not only a shrine of the Huronic Menagerie, but has become a museum of life and living during the Civil War. So her home was built during the Civil War, and she lived in it during the Civil War in Gettysburg. Give me 1 second, guys. I got a child needing my attention. What?
Finds pets.
Huh?
Finds pets.
Give me. No, he takes him. No, his mom would take. No. my gosh. That's not. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You guys got knocked down. I really need to get a new webcam. Anyway, no, his mom said he only takes it once a day.
Okay. Well, mine.
Yeah, I can't check because. Hey, Brian. Mommy only said that you only do it once a day, baby. Your mama said that you only take them once in the morning. Do you usually take one at night?
Sometimes.
Sorry, we have my she's like a sister to me, but she's really my aunt. She can't son with me tonight. Today. Today. In the morning. So yeah, they only see once a day, baby.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
I even texted mommy.
Huh?
I texted your mom also earlier on her way home. So.
Okay. Cool. Whoa! How can I get out?
Uh-oh.
Cut
Give me 1
out.
second. Don't move, Brian. Don't move. Jaden! Take!
How to get out? You supposed to do it again?
Go to bed, Tank.
Bedtime.
Tank.
Next to the bottom of the clock.
It is. It was. It was. Well,
You know, it wouldn't be my show if something didn't happen. Honestly. If you guys go back and watch my previous shows with any, it wouldn't be my show. But I'm not even gonna say it. We'll say it at the end. So, Jeremy, if you talk to Nick soon, I got to let him know, like, I ended up getting a Nightmare Before Christmas mouse, along with another, it came with a mouse pad, and then a keyboard. Like, I was super, I know I'm getting off track, guys, but that's okay. We still have 25 minutes. I was super stoked, and I will show this platform. When I found these items, I had to have them, and they were only $20 at GameStop, brand new, so, which are pretty amazing. So anyway, if you go to the Jenny Wade house, it is done completely like how it would be back in the Civil War days, so you'll get a glimpse of what it was like to live in the Civil War days. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of different museums and stuff out there that would, you can see what they were using and, how they lived. Because I know Gettysburg does have, like, this big whole, like, festival type thing, I want to say. So, she was born, Mary Virginia Wade, also known as Jenny, she was born in Gettysburg in 1843 and grew up in a house with her family that was also on Baltimore Street. Life of Linda reality show. I mean, I guess I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, because Martin, you've been with me since I started this whole journey, and you can tell, you can comment on this video. It would not be a show of mine if something weren't happening. And so what had happened, reason why I went off camera for a while, and you guys get to stare at my lovely new background and part of my bed, part of my dresser, except for the other platform, they just get to see the dresser. So we have, like I said, we have she's my aunt, but we're like sisters. We grew up together and everything. Her son with us tonight, and our puppy got out, and our puppy he's not aggressive. He just, it's dark in my hallway to where Brian was standing at, and if he doesn't know you, he kind of gets, not, like I said, not aggressive. It's just like who are you and what is your attention type thing. Nothing happened or anything. He didn't even do anything. It was just a precaution of putting him back in his cage, so that way, because if Brian moves too fast or something or whatnot, he can get spooked like any animal. So like my cat, my other dog can do it. Any animal can do it. And so he's just used to us being in the house and nobody else. So he goes to protection mode when we're home and everything. So she was called Jenny, and in 1863, she turned 20 and was living with her sister Georgia and her brother-in-law and her baby niece/nephew in one unit of the brick house. Well, Susan McLean, the owner of this structure, lived in the other unit. So her sister, nephew, her sister, her niece or nephew, brother-in-law lived in one. The owner of the structures lived in the other. She also had a love of her own named Johnson Jack A. Skelly. Huh. That's pretty interesting. See, I have not gone through the Jenny Wade house file folder yet until tonight. And when the Civil War broke out, Lewis and Jack both joined the Union forces. Jack became a corporal and then a sergeant, Johnson Skelly. Both of them went to fight the war a long way from home. So they were very long and very away from home it was super sad. I couldn't imagine it. Both Jenny and Georgia and Susan McLean had kind hearts and let the orphan children from the nearby orphanage escape their hard, abusive existence for a while and play at their house, enjoying a few happy times, a kind of oasis away from their sad reality of suffering at the hands of their abusive orphanage director, with the personal issues and temperament problems. The orphanage was located at 785 Baltimore Street. So, then everything took a turn for the worse, and the Union and Confederate troops clashed in a bloody conflict on the fields and of the town of Gettysburg. So, we all know about Gettysburg. Was smack dab in the middle of the fighting. Like their house was in the middle of the Union and Confederate soldiers fighting. I remember watching videos on the Jenny Wade house because it not only fascinated me, but it also, for some reason, I was drawn to it. I can't say why, but they were fitting in no man's land. So nobody had claimed the land that the houses were sitting on, so they were fighting in it. They were fighting for it. Not only was this a landlord's nightmare, but it goes without saying that it was incredibly dangerous for the occupants as well. Jenny, Georgia, and Susan were warned to leave because of their precautious situation. While Susan left, both the sisters baked bread and gave out waters to passing Union troops, perhaps thinking about their own loved ones far away and also probably fighting the Confederate soldiers in some distant battlefield. Their parents also came to help, helping to keep their daughters safe as well as the Union soldiers. During the first 2 days of the battle, the cannonball landed in the dividing wall. A cannonball landed in the dividing wall in the attic, but it didn't explode. Many bullets hit the outside of the house. None came inside. However, during the third day of battle, a stray bullet that was shot by a Confederate soldier holding his position in a Farnsworth house attic came through two wooden doors of their home, striking poor Jenny in the back as she was baking bread in the kitchen. Jenny was the only civilian killed in this 3-day battle. She was remembered as a martyr to the cause of an example of courage and patriotism. When they came to take her body, her mother insisted on having Jenny put in the cellar until it was safe to move her. Soldiers stayed with the body until she could be buried in a temporary burial spot. Finally, her remains were buried in the Gettysburg National Cemetery with honor. Her grave is honored by a lovely statue and an American flag. So, that is the story from the Jenny Wade house. She didn't want to leave her home. She was helping the Union soldiers and stuff. And, thinking about her husband. Can you imagine if her husband, her husband came back and found out that his wife got killed or unalived by a Confederate soldier? So it is said that when people die doing a task or in the morning, an important task or work goal, they often try to continue what they're doing in the afterlife before they, unexpectedly. And it is said that Jenny is still doing what she was doing. She was in the middle of an urgent mission, making bread for the hungry soldiers. So she didn't get to finish the batch. And so with unfinished business, as we all know, most of us know, anybody watching this, even on here, if you're new to the paranormal field, some spirits still do are earthbound because they have unfinished business because they, unexpectedly. And they continue to try, they're unaware that they are unalived. So they continue to try to finish that task. And again, like I said earlier in my, at the start of the show, was they're in like a time loop, day in and day out. And then they get angry because they see all these people and these people can't hear them, for the naked eye. Because, obviously, we have the technology. We can hear somebody, but they need that energy built up. Now, with the homes being still in the Civil War era, they're not going to have that energy, not unless they, take it from you and or our equipment. As we all know, our equipment dies so fast. That's why you always have extra batteries on hand. So she is hanging on to this world because she's unfinished business concerning loved ones. Maybe she's still waiting to hear back from hear for the fate of her beloved Jack, that was fighting the battle. But unfortunately, it was later found out that he was taken prisoner and died from his wounds at Winchester. She never found this out. She was taken way before she passed away, and she never found out. So that really breaks my heart. That's really sad. You know, through a mutual friend who had joined the Confederacy, was supposed to bring her the news as he had been there when Jack died and had promised Jack he would tell her. Unfortunately, he didn't have the chance because he died on July 3rd in the Gettysburg Battle on Culp's Hill. So he passed away. Mr. Wesley Gold on Culp was trying to get to Jenny to let her know that he had passed away. He had got taken and he had passed away, but he ended up, passing away. There has been said there's child spirits there at the house. Maybe that's because of all the supposed abuse that they went through. And that didn't survive and that were unalived because of it. Woo! There was diseases and hardships of war and, accidents that kids do. They enjoy their time with the kind-hearted, loving souls who live there. So, maybe in the afterlife, they remember all the stuff that happened and they still see Jenny there making her bread for the loved ones, and they can still go there and everything because the orphanage was like down the street. So who's not to say that, all the houses or structures or even the land of all the bloodshed that happened there, the unexpected unalivings that happened there and the, Civil War and everything else, that in the bad times, because we all know that there is still sounds of the cannons going off, pew pew sounds and all this going on during the time of, during that era of when the Gettysburg, the Civil War happened in Gettysburg, that they were trying to run from this to get to Jenny's house. So they felt safe enough there. He probably stayed there because, they were loved and cared for and they never wanted to leave. I know if I wasn't at home being loved and cared for, I wouldn't want to leave as a child. I mean, I did have a home that I was loved and cared for. Don't get me wrong. I love my parents to death. My mom, who is still with me, she loved me with her whole heart. And she is my hero and everything. And then my dad, who, would do anything for his daughter and his grandkids. I would go to the ends of the earth for that man. And then there's also 2 male spirits that are said to occupy the additions. And maybe they are tired due to emotional issues, as neither act like they are too happy and can't let go to the other side. Some entities mourn the loss of a loved one, perhaps blaming themselves, while others are just upset because they died before they were ready. A common occurrence during the war. So these 2 male spirits could be that they were unalived around the house and they feel that happy, positive energy, but they're just angry that they didn't want to be unalived or die at that time. So they're just going to be angry. And now, we call them, they're angry. It said that on the 2nd floor, the children like to swing on the chains, which are part of the roped off areas, to have antique furniture to prevent visitors from sitting on the displays. So that is the story of the Ginny Wade house. Not a lot there, but a lot there, if I may so, that is, just awesome. And, so, look, I finished 2 locations in the hour. We still got about 10 minutes to hang out. Again, some important announcements, some very important announcements. Let me put you there then. I gotta move a couple of things out of the way here real fast. I think it's in this binder. This is not the this is not the handbook, but ba-bam, 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 ba-bam. So this platform. Hero Unity. I am this year's host. I'm so excited to be hosting. I thank everybody for giving me this wonderful opportunity to let me host this year. So a couple of things, we have some fresh new ideas to the table. Yes, we have now this year we are going to do vendor badges. So this year you will have at least 2 vendor badges, but if you need more, please let us know that if you need more than 2. Now, day of, I will make sure I do have extras just in case. But I would like to try to get those done and have those on your tables while waiting, waiting for you beforehand. But like I said, rest assured, I will have extras with me day of. Some exciting news coming from the Perry Unity side is, not only will we have, the vendor badges, we will have the committee members will have a purple lanyard that says Perry Unity Event Staff on it, and we will have a badge also that says Perry Unity Event Staff, which I cannot wait for them to get here. I'm excited to see them. I designed them myself. But then again, the flyer that I just showed both of y'all, now our lovely, amazing Jeremy York. I wish you could too, more. It'd be nice to finally meet you in person. Jeremy York came up with that flyer. I told him to have fun with it. All I wanted to do was to, make it pop. And let me tell you, he did a lovely job. Amazing job. I love it. I absolutely love that flyer. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys. We are going to have a little game area set up for the little ones to play games and win little prizes and stuff. Give me 1 second. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Without knocking everything over. I have such a small space. Ugh. Still got a few minutes here, so we're going to talk about nothing but pure unity and stuff. So I got some more coming in, and something was delivered today. So what I'm talking about is having little itty bitty prizes. I got so many different things. Parents are gonna love me for these, water balloons, glowy sticks, clay, just all kinds of different. This is, Temu. I go on Temu and it sucks me in, and I get all kinds of different little. Now my girls did an awesome job. We have balloons. We have 100 balloons. Little noise makers. This is a fidget spinner. I'm thinking about making this one prize because it's a Lego set. I have sticker galore. I have so many stickers. Cars, poppets, like these are gonna be like the bigger prizes for it. Like you can build things with these little guys. So I mean, there's a lot in these little packs. Like you can get different, varieties. I mean, I have slap bracelets. I have so many different things in one box. I have more coming because I do have more than one event going on this year. So I'm gonna have, my ball toss game that went really well last year over at Pure Unity. Like we came home with no prizes.
Some.
Oh, we came home with some.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A little bit.
What's up?
I want to say hey.
I'm almost done. But I mean, I have so much stuff.
Should I get dinner going?
Yeah, we need to get dinner going.
Yeah.
Dishes done?
Almost.
Okay. So yeah,
Let's have a first up.
I'll be out in a minute.
Okay.
All right, guys. I gotta go feed my babies. So it's almost been an hour anyway. So a couple minutes is not gonna hurt. I got through 2 locations tonight. Yay! And I'm gonna say it. I'm so excited. I had no internet problems tonight. I am super stoked. I'm so happy. No internet problems. That makes me feel, that makes me really, really happy. Yeah, I had a couple bumps here in the Jenny Wade house, but that wasn't nothing, that was a quick fix, quick handle, but no internet issues. That makes me so happy. As always, I am, taking requests. If you want to see a location done, I have done over 300 locations here in the United States, and I'm expanding across the pond. So if you have anything you want done, send it my way. I'll be more than glad to do it for you. Or just ask if I have a location already done, and I will look. And don't forget, we are still looking for vendors for Pure Unity, which is October 25th of this year. Also, the Hannah Paranormal Festival is coming up. And thank you for the likes. I really appreciate it. So that is coming up this year too. It's on August 9th, I believe. I'll have to look it up and I'll post it. But hello, who? I'm not for sure who you're talking about more. As far as I know, I'm only streaming to one location. But if you shared it out, if I am not seeing your comments right now, I promise you I will comment back to you. So, but as always, love you guys. I will see you next week, and I will post which locations I'm doing next week. Bye, guys.